Good morning, afternoon, Math 2 crew. We are back looking at section 8.7, page 457, question 18, more about solving quadratics using square roots. 19. The height of a triangle is twice the length of the base. The area of the triangle is 50 meters squared. Find the height and base to the nearest tenth of a meter. So where do I start? How do I think about this? Always start with what you've been given. You've been given the height of the triangle, and you're told that it's twice the length of the base. And then you know that the area of the triangle is 50 square meters. So let's start with the area formula for a triangle. So I'll write that out. The area is 1/2 the length of the base times the height. So our area is 50. I'll leave the units off. Our base is unknown. So the base, B, we'll just put a question mark there. But we know that the height is, that's what is means, it's equal to the height of the triangle, H, is equal to twice the length of the base. Twice the length of your base, or 2 times B. And so I'll write that down. So let's substitute the values here and try to find the height and base to the nearest tenth. So area is 50, substitute. 1/2. The base is B times the height, which is 2B. So let's multiply through, and what we end up with is something that has to be obvious soon. Got to know this. That 1/2 is a fraction, has a denominator of 2. 2 is a whole number, 2 over 1, and so you can simplify, cross-reduce the denominator of 2 and the whole number of 2. And that essentially becomes 1 and 1. And so when you multiply 1 times B, you get B squared. And it equals 50. So it's just a little off there, so let me change that up. Now what I like to do is I always like to write the variable on the left side, constant on the right side. So I'm going to switch this. So let's solve this using square roots. And so B is going to equal plus or minus the square root of 50. Now, since to round out to the nearest tenth, so we can use our calculator to find our answer. If you think about it, 7 times 7 is 49, right? So I have an idea that the answer is going to be very close to 7. And I also know that it doesn't make sense to have a negative length when you're talking about the area of this triangle. So the base is, again, like I said, it's going to be very close to the number 7. And if I use a calculator, (50 raised to the 0.5 power) is 7.07. Alrighty, so our base is about positive 7.07. And it said round to the nearest tenth, didn't it? So the 7 makes the 0 a 1, so I can erase that, make that 1. And so when you look at your height, which is twice the base, you see that up here? We'll highlight that. Then you can substitute and find the height. So we substitute B. Well, let's show all the work. And so that's going to be 14.2. And I don't want to forget, but I think we're measuring in feet. Let's double check. No, meters. So we should label our units. And that is our answer. Now, I don't want to make this more difficult than what you might think it is, but what I want to do is find the precise answer. I want to find the exact answer. It said to round off, but I think finding the exact answer is important too. And mathematicians, math students, should always be precise as possible. So, this is a side note. The square root of 50 can be simplified, so I'm going to write that down. The product property, you might remember this, but 50 is 25 times 2. And the square root of 25 is 5. So this would be the exact answer for the base. 5 square root 2. And so now you can see that the height, which is 2 times d, the length of the base, would be 2 times 5 square root 2, which is 10 square root 2. Okay? Why is that important? Well, if you were to find the area of the triangle, we know it's 50, and if you take the rounded values and use the formula, probably have to use our calculator to compute this, and that's what I'm going to do. Use my calculator and see what kind of answer I get. Okay? So let's grab that calculator and see what happens. 0.5 times 7.1 times 14.2. And so the answer is 50.41. Let's double check. Yeah, and that would be square meters. Is that 50? No, you've got a rounding error, see, of 4100. So that's a big issue. If you're an engineer designing a product, that rounding error could be dangerous. And precision is necessary. So using the information here with the square roots, the exact numbers, if you were to solve it, you would be doing the same thing, 1/2 base times height. So I'm going to cross simplify. 2 goes into 10 5 times. And so I end up with 5 radical 2 times 5 radical 2. And so this becomes 5 times 5. And for those of you who don't know this, but it's 5 times 5 times radical 2 times radical 2. Now I'm going to work this out completely so you see how this works. 5 times 5 is 25. I get that. Radical 2 times radical 2 is 2. If you don't know that, look, radical 2, that would be, if you write it as a power, it's radical 2 squared, right? Right? And so doesn't the square root and the second power undo each other? They're inverses of each other. So it's 25 times 2, which is 50. And that's the exact answer. And so using radicals gives a solution that's exact. And the radicals turn out to disappear, and so the question seems a little simpler when the radicals aren't there and you understand that 50 is 50. So I hope that helped. Again, we compared rounding off to exact answers. I hope that helps. Remember, like I always say, study hard and learn a lot, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.